They say progress is proof you're doing something right. That if you're improving, you're on the right track. That if the numbers go up, if the edits get cleaner, if the skills sharpen, then you should feel proud, fulfilled, certain. So why do I feel more empty every time I level up? I've learned how to write faster, speak smoother, cut tighter. I've studied the rhythm of retention, mastered the metrics, optimized the title, the hook, the ending. And still, there's this quiet voice that asks, is any of this making me feel more whole? Because it should, right? Isn't that what progress promises? That once you get good enough, the ache will stop. We live in a culture obsessed with better habits, better routines, better work, better self. It's sold to us like salvation, as if the only thing standing between you and joy is an updated version of yourself. And it sounds beautiful, even noble. But the truth is, we've confused progress with peace. Improvement has become performance, growth commodified. Because in this system, your worth isn't measured by your voice, but by how efficiently that voice improves, how quickly you scale, how seamlessly you adapt, how profitably you evolve. And when that's the framework, progress stops you from healing and starts becoming hollow. I've made things that are light years beyond where I started, technically stronger, emotionally clearer, structurally tighter, but I barely feel proud. Instead, I feel pressure, not just to meet that level again, but to exceed it, to outperform the version of me from last month, last project, last upload. And so every achievement becomes a moving target. The bar isn't set, it's raised. Every time you hit a milestone, the goalpost shifts, and instead of feeling like a breakthrough, it starts to feel like a trap, like climbing a staircase that adds more steps beneath you every time you ascend. You're always chasing but never arriving. There was a moment, a small, quiet one, where I thought I had finally arrived. The work was good, the response was kind. I felt proud, briefly, and then the thoughts crept in. What's next? Can you top it? What if this was your peak? It didn't feel like success. It felt like pressure disguised as praise. Because this culture doesn't let you rest. It doesn't let you sit with what you've made. It pushes you to move forward faster, to keep building a ladder without knowing where it's going. And somewhere in that climb, you stop asking why you wanted to grow in the first place. You stop creating for discovery and start creating for maintenance, for presence, for retention, for staying relevant just long enough to not be forgotten. And the scary part? You get good at it. You learn how to improve, not as a reflection of passion, but as a strategy for survival. progress becomes performative, a public ritual of, look, I'm still worthy. It's no longer about becoming yourself, but justifying your space. Don't unfollow. I'm still useful, still growing, still valuable. It becomes less about creation and more about proving you belong. And that guilt creeps in when you want to slow down, or try something raw, or let go of the metrics. You feel like you're wasting your own potential if you're not always scaling upwards. Even rest starts to feel like regression. Even joy feels like indulgence. And so we push harder, faster, more efficiently. And in that chase, we risk forgetting who we were before we got good at this. But here's what I've been thinking lately. Maybe the rebellion isn't in rejecting growth, but reclaiming it. Because growth doesn't have to mean bigger, faster, shinier. Sometimes growth is softer, slower, stranger. Sometimes growth is taking 3 steps backward to find a path that actually feels like yours. Sometimes progress looks like rest, or stillness, or making something terrible because it made you laugh. I still want to improve. I still want to create with more skill, more clarity, more courage. But now I ask myself, who am I improving for? Is it for them, the viewers, the strangers, the systems, or is it for me? Because if I'm just upgrading myself to be more visible, more palatable, more productive, then maybe I'm not growing. Maybe I'm just shrinking myself more efficiently. I once made a short film that barely anyone watched. It was messy, too long, too quiet, but I remember how I felt while making it. Alive, in flow, curious. There was no pressure to prove anything, no hope of going viral, just me trying to get a feeling down on tape. And when I watch it now, I still smile. Not because it was my best work, but because it was mine. Completely, honestly, undistracted by outcome. That, to me, is what true progress looks like. Not numbers going up, but meaning settling in. So no, getting better isn't enough. Not if you lose yourself along the way. Not if every gain comes with a deeper emptiness. Not if progress becomes a replacement for presence. I want to grow without vanishing. I want to improve without performing. I want to make things that feel alive even if they aren't impressive. Because maybe the most radical thing we can do in a world obsessed with better is to be honest about what we love and protect it, even from our own ambition. So if you're feeling exhausted by self-improvement, if the climb is starting to feel like a trap, you're not alone. Maybe it's not about reaching the top. Maybe it's about learning to pause mid-step, look around, and say, this is where I am. And right now, that's enough. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. And tell me in the comments if I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me anything. But remember, thank you for giving me your time today. Peace.